Alright folks, Acid Roots here, so we're gonna get out of Rocky Road in this episode, and then after this there's just one more, and then that concludes Crash Team Racing. So like I've said before, hopefully you've continued to have a blast with this series, and this may not be like the de facto project for like 100% completion, but I'm sure that there's some good ROMs and bonus things amongst this project that give off a good time. So it has the attempt and the stuff in mind as far as trying to do it, and that's kind of the stuff about it is really that's where the true meat of this game kind of has like its territories. It's just wondering if you're bold enough to actually do 100% and the like. I mean, honestly, it's not as simple as it sounds. You can tell this by these bonus stages. I mean, these are things that you don't even have to do a second time. They just expect you to kind of do it along while doing the main adventure. So you would think that if you could do like the regular stages in the game that you'd be able to do these lickety-split, but that's kind of the thing. Really, Nitro Port, the fourth world that you go to, or the fourth crystal collecting stage that you go to, really pulls out all the stops. I mean, it's a brilliant battle course, but it's not quite as fun in terms of like the collecting and stuff. Really, I felt like, I mean, honestly, I've said this many times by now, but I do feel like these stages should have been utilized just where you fought like the enemies, because it probably would have been more fun just having to knock out like 3 enemies and getting like at least a taste. I mean, because this game kind of assumes that you have like 3 friends and a multi-tap to be able to do this, and if you don't, I guarantee that there are probably people who have never done Crash Team Racing's multiplayers. That's just kind of the thing as that you have to pay attention to it. You should have at least been able to get a taste of it just in case that were the occasion. But still, I mean, I find these crystal collecting things somewhat addicting. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, by now you've seen the game I'm doing after this, which is basically Tomb Raider 1 for the PlayStation 1, and hopefully, I mean, I know that's, I've actually played doses of that game, and I know it's a relatively addictive game, and it's very similar to this game in the sense that it has like that repetitive fun, and I admire that in a video game. I definitely admire it when game developers can make something that's just repetitive and make it into something that you just can't stop doing. Like, and I have to admit, I play like the old school Nintendo machines, but they are really not that skilled at making like repetitive fun. I mean, they have some good formulas in their games, but it's not like this crystal collecting stuff and just the general type stuff that you'll see. I feel like games like this and Tomb Raider and Doom for the PlayStation 1, and I'm trying to think of it like that Miss Pac-Man game I talked about in an earlier episode, and other PS1 games. I'm sure that there's others, but that kind of concept, I mean, really, it's just a lot of fun to have some of these. Now, when it comes to like whether or not I feel like the Super Nintendo or the PS1 is actually better, I mean, they're both good. I mean, I would just pick up both. At this stage, there's no reason. There's not too many people who are going to say, well, you're only going to get one. I mean, who's going to say that? Your parents, your girlfriend, your roommate? I mean, chances are it's not going to be a big deal about having 2 video game machines, so you're just better off getting both. I mean, at least if you're amongst like the setting that folks my age are about, where, I mean, because obviously by the time you're in your 30s, you're not going to have like 6 or 7 game consoles, most people, unless you're getting paid to do it on YouTube or something, but I do recommend at least having a couple. So there you have it. But yeah, this is a bastard, so to pay attention to this game, you do not really want to get the boost at the beginning, because chances are when you get that crystal in the left-hand corner at the very beginning, you'll probably crash into the wall and waste valuable seconds. And I do mean that, valuable seconds. Seconds are what matter. It's not just minutes. I mean, you do not have much time for error. You can probably make 1, 2, or 3 mistakes. Anything more than that, especially if you hit more than one of those nitro crates, you gotta do it over. That's the only way around it, you know. You're gonna find that I did not have a fun time with this project, so don't expect like an easy victory. That's why there's one more episode, but I just said, hey, you know, I don't have time for this, and as much as it is ultimately fun, the concept behind it is, this is an example of where the shift of fun just was not exceptional, and they should have done a better job. I mean, if Nintendo had handled this, they would have made it easier. I just felt like Naughty Dog really kind of pulled out all the stops, and I felt like that was unnecessary. But I do like this stage. I mean, like I said, it definitely looks like a brilliant battle stage. It's just meant for that. You know, this is not... They should have chosen a different stage to have the crystal collecting. I guess they kind of felt like it's the end of the game. You should be able to handle something like this by this point, but this is basically tougher than any race course in the game. I think this is even tougher than the nitrous oxide boss, at least the first time you do it. That really should go to stand to reason about something like that. But yeah, I'd have to say you can find other playthroughs of this course on YouTube. You'll see the dastardly stuff that they had to do to initiate some of these things. So, but yeah. I'm almost tempted to do part 17 today also, just to kind of get this show on the road. That way I can convert most of my time to Tomb Raider. I mean, it's worth it, but just to kind of say as to whether or not, you know. But yeah, I also have Crash Warped in my home. I've thought about, I mean, that's really the only other Crash game of the 4 PS1 ones that I would actually mess with, but thing about it is I haven't really played through enough of Crash Warped. I mean, I think I got to at least the second world. I remember fighting the tiny tiger dude, but I don't recall too much of that game. I mean, that's the thing, it's been years. I mean, it's like this game where it's been 22 full decades since I've messed with a game like this, but I mean, I do feel like these Crash Bandicoot games are worth revisiting, but I don't know about revisiting like once every year like I would have thought. I mean, I think the next time I play Crash Team Racing, I mean, even if I do play it, I think I would just do like the Grand Prix more so than adventure mode. I mean, not to downplay the game, but it's just kind of. But yeah, like, you know, mileage may vary. I mean, I would have to say, you know, for people who grew up with this game and truly had a blast with it, I mean, it is fun. There are stages, like I'm trying to think of my favorites in this. I did like the Hot Air Skyway stage, even though it pissed me off. And Pinstripe was kind of a funny dude. And I like the first stage, Crash Cove, and I like the Sewer Speedway stage, and I'm trying to think of a few others. I can't really remember any from like Papu Papu's world, but the Tiki Man. I mean, you get the idea. I mean, there's just a batch, you know, for people who probably are going to do like a playthrough of this, but just do playing like the Mario Kart styled mode. I'd say, yeah, that's to be appreciated more, but this is the $40 game that you're paying for. I feel like if it was just the Grand Prix mode, you'd probably just be paying like $15 for this game or something, because it's nowhere near, it's not Mario Kart. That's just the thing about it. I mean, it's fun, but it's supposed to just be a PlayStation alternative to it. So, alright folks, so there's one more episode after this, and you'll see what happens with the rest of this, so just keep staying tuned and we'll reach our conclusion, and then I recommend you head over to Tomb Raider. So, see you next time, have a wonderful night.